Greater New Orleans on LAE is presented by the Historic New Orleans Collection, HNOC.org. The National World War II Museum, NationalWW2Museum.org. And by Fisher's Jewelry, where quality and fair prices have been a family tradition since 1962, and where parking is free. Fisher's Jewelry, downtown at the corner of Rampart and Historic Canal Street. FishersJewelryNola.com.
Good evening, I'm Tom Bagwell, and welcome to Greater New Orleans. She has trained in some of the world's finest schools and played on some of its biggest stages. Her piano career started at just age 6 in Russia. Now she lives in New Orleans, still playing and teaching others the instrument she loves. And tonight you'll hear why audiences love her. It is my pleasure to welcome a very well-respected professor of music in the Newcomb Music Department at Tulane University and classical concert pianist Faina Lushtak to Greater New Orleans.
Thank you so much for such a lovely introduction, and I'm happy to be here.
We are very pleased that you are with us tonight. Well, I mentioned that you started playing at the age of 6, just before 6. Was that your decision or someone else's?
Of course, being 6-year-old child in Russia, you don't have any decisions. All the decisions are made actually for the rest of your life by parents. Maybe now it's changing, but in my time, definitely. My mother was a wonderful musician, and she was my first teacher. And since I had, they discovered I have perfect pitch, so my fate was decided. You are originally from Odessa in the Ukraine. Talk to us about your early life and earliest experiences with classical music. It went beyond the home, didn't it? Absolutely. First of all, my mother would, of course, it was in the tradition of life of all my mother friends and all families that I knew. They would drag their children about 2 times per week to the symphony concert or to the Philharmonic concert. So it was just part of the growing up in Russia. And
in some cases you liked the concert, in other cases you really were dragged there, right?
Absolutely. What do you expect from a child of 6 or 7 years old, right? Some of the concert, of course, but some of the concert I was struggling not to fall asleep. But it was a shame, and this probably kept me awake.
Well, chopsticks would be the answer for most of us to this next question, but do you remember the name of the first song you learned? And I just learned recently this was a song you actually composed, right?
Yes, that's right. The first, one of the first songs was The Morning Star.
Okay, and you're going to play a little bit of it for us tonight.
The whole piece, because it's not, it doesn't take 20 pages.
Very good. This is Morning Star.
Morning Star.
Very nice. The pieces get longer as the evening goes through, and Faina will be performing a total of 4 songs for us tonight, and we are very pleased that that is the case. Was there one person in your life or one event in your life beyond your mother's influence that made you want to pursue music as a career?
Yes. First of all, I believe that when I was 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe years old, I had to be pushed to practice, because this is one of the a lot of children would love to come on a stage and play, but they don't realize what is behind it.
The hard work.
The hard work that we have to practice. And of course I would sometimes change the clock, the time, so to cut my time of practice. But I have to tell you that when I was about 10 and a half years old or 11, I actually fell in love with practicing and spending time at the piano. And I remember who influenced me. At that time, Bela Davidovich, she's a wonderful world-known pianist, and specializing, I would say, on Chopin. I remember she came to Odessa and she played all Chopin program. And I absolutely fell in love with this performance, with this woman. She was like my goddess, my first, one of my first goddess. And the way she played, the way she looked on the stage, she was like little ballerina and playing so beautiful. So I would say that that was kind of turning point for me.
You were nice enough to spend a few minutes with my daughter, who is 11, and you were telling me that 11 really is a magical age, because at that point, if they're going to practice on their own and put in the work, that means it may last a while, right?
You know, Emily, your daughter, really made a wonderful impression on me, because I felt that this girl, she really loves what she's doing. And her voice is so clear, and her pitch is so exact. I think that she will be okay.
I hope she's watching. Yes. And she sings, doesn't play the piano, we should point out, although we're talking about piano lessons. When did you move to the United States? And why did you move to the United States?
Well, we moved in 1978. Why? I think it would take hours and hours and hours to discuss, but trying to summarize. At that time, it was a communist regime, and the life was absolutely unbearable, politically wise and financially wise. And we just understood that there is no, we didn't want to build our future in this country. We didn't know that perestroika will happen in the future, that it will become a different country, but at that time it was absolutely unbearable. And for a small joke, political joke, you could find yourself in prison.
How were you able to leave? Because back then you couldn't just get up and fly off.
A lot of people at that time could still. We applied to leave Russia, and a lot of people at that time. We've been really lucky. We were granted permission after 9 months, like a healthy baby. After 9 months, this permission was delivered. But our friends, for example, who were scientists, and I'm sure that you know this word, refusnik, they've been waiting, some of them 5 and 6 and 7 years without work, because at that time, if you would apply to leave country, you would automatically lose your job. So it was a very, very difficult decision, but we decided to go ahead and try our luck.
We're glad you did.
Thank you.
You are now a U.S. citizen.
Yes.
How important is that for you?
Very important. We became citizens of this great country many years ago, and for us, America, even that we were fed all horrible information on what you could see on TV. It was just on poor people on the street who don't have anything to eat, this kind of information. But thank God we could, of course, obtain some other information, and we just knew that this is the country, it's a free country, that a person can do and try and achieve whatever her potentials are.
And you certainly have achieved great success here in our country.
We are trying.
Who are 3 of your favorite classical composers, and why? And you said it was even hard to narrow it down to 3.
Why 3? Ask me 10. Well, I'll try to answer. Chopin, Mozart, Rachmaninoff, if I can add a little bit more, Scriabin and Prokofiev. Yes.
Well, Faina will be playing 3 more pieces for us tonight, and later a piece that she wrote called Old and New. But first, you were going to play a piece from Chopin for us. What is it, and why is it one of your favorites?
I just love Chopin, and since I have very limited time, I just choose this Polonaise because I absolutely love this piece. But as well as I love mazurkas very much, I recorded a whole disc of them, and this composer is just very close to my soul and my heart.
This is Chopin's Polonaise in C sharp minor. Here is Faina, Lushtak. Polonaise in C minor, written by Chopin and performed so beautifully by Faina Lushtak. We should also point out at this moment and thank our friends at Hall Piano, Steve Kinchin in particular, for bringing to us in our studio this beautiful Model B semi-concert grand from Steinway & Sons. And as we always mention, Hall, of course, being the exclusive Steinway dealer here in Louisiana. So our thanks to our friends at Hall Piano.
I have to add to this, it's absolutely magnificent instrument, and Steve always helps with anything we need.
Well, you have studied in some of the finest schools and you have performed all over the world. Which do you prefer more, teaching or performing?
I cannot answer this question. I love performing and I love teaching very much. And actually, when I perform, this is the way how I can meet young, talented people, and several of these people came to Tulane to study with me, and I'm thrilled about that. Actually, this coming fall, I'm expecting one young girl from Philadelphia, Rebecca Kenny, who, when I was in Philadelphia and play and gave master class, so she decided to come here.
Let me ask it this way. Are you a better performer because you are a teacher?
It's a difficult question to answer. I would tell you that when you teach, you certain ideas you clarify for yourself. And another thing, for example, when I judge competitions and I hear, like last summer I judged in international piano competition in Salt Lake City in Utah, and the children who performed there, it was just absolutely amazing. And some of them did such interesting interpretation. Yes, it's interesting to hear, and especially when you encounter with such a young and talented kids, and you feel that whatever you spending your life, it's going to continue. And we are going to have this summer first time in New Orleans international competition for young children. And I think it's a great idea. Daniel Welbecker, who is artistic director, he came up with this idea. I think it's absolutely terrific.
And you will be serving as one of the judges.
I will serve as a judge, and I really look forward to this.
Well, does it mean anything to you that you are located in a city so filled with musical heritage?
It's nice to live in the city with such an incredible musical history, and I love jazz. And later on, you would hear in my piece that I actually fascinated with the jazz rhythm, and I was trying to incorporate it into my piece. But yes, this is absolutely great, and just to live in the city with such an incredible history. Louis Armstrong and nowadays it's incredible family of Alice Marcellus and all his sons are amazing.
The entire Marcellus brood.
Yes, and Wynton Marcellus, who is such a great trumpet player, and I heard his many recording classical as well as jazz, of course. I mean, and goodness, just the Neville brothers, Jermaine Neville. Just you start talking about that, and it's many people incredible. Of course, it's great that you can come to Snock Harbor and hear, the high quality of jazz. And New Orleans is recognized as the mecca for music. Jazz, especially.
Are there some of your colleagues or peers who perhaps look down upon those who play jazz, rock and roll, somewhere in between, and not the classics?
Well, at Tulane, for example, we have my colleague and friend John Joyce. He is teaching history of jazz, and a lot of young people taking this course. So it means that they have real interest. And we have several very talented people who teaching drums and jazz combo and jazz piano. So I mean, it's on a pretty professional level.
So you would suggest to someone who is interested in classical piano to take these other courses because it will make them
absolutely
more well-rounded.
Absolutely. One of my favorite performer, a great pianist who didn't didn't know how to read music, who was a contemporary of Vladimir Horowitz. Vladimir Horowitz, who, of course, it's a world name, of course, great names. But his contemporary was Art Tatum, an African-American pianist who didn't know the notes. But if you listen his recording, it's absolutely astonishing. His technique, his command of the piano, I always had feelings that there are not just one pianist, but maybe 2 or 3, and dazzling performance. So I mean, it's like on the verge. Yes, it's a jazz idiom, but it's a classical in terms of absolute finesse and technique and imagination and harmony. I mean, it's very interesting combination.
He knew the notes, but he knew them up here.
Yeah,
not on here.
Yes,
right?
Tremendous talent.
Well, we are going to play the piece you composed, Old and New, at the end of tonight's program, and we're running short of time. So I do want to get to one more classical piece that Faina has offered to perform for us tonight. This is Rachmaninoff's Prelude. So here is Faina Lushtak again. Faina Lushtak. I do want to ask you one more question before we get to your last piece, the piece you composed, Old and New, and you will hear that jazz that she has talked about tonight and that she appreciates so much. Advice for parents who are watching tonight, who see you performing so beautifully and who have read all the research and heard all of the stories about the importance of having children exposed to music. So it's a two-part question. One is for a parent who just wants to introduce, or grandparent for that matter, who wants to introduce their child to the world of classical music. And secondly, for the parents of someone who is already in music and who they believe may have a special gift for music beyond just learning how to play.
Well, I believe that all children should take music lessons, piano or violin or any other instruments, because it's not my word, but it ennobles the soul. It's wonderful organization. It's developed the brain. We already know about this book, Mozart Effect. It's millions of positive things that we can talk hours. And I believe that if our public school would have instruments, would be offer instruments, would be great, like it was many years ago, what my friends told me about. So I believe that all children, and then if a second part of your not everybody have to become professional musicians, because there are many other interesting professions in the world, and not everybody possess a great deal of talent in music. Some children possess great talent in music, in computer or in painting, in whatever. So, but music should be part of the growing up, of the establishing understanding for every child, understanding of beauty, understanding of order, understanding of responsibility, many things. Now, the second part of your question: if parents find out that the child has an exceptional talent, something like really very obvious, I would advise those parents, stick with this and, well, press your child, not to beat your child, like my mother would do sometimes, running around the table with the towel. But definitely, because sometimes children don't want to practice when they maybe 9, 10, but I would say that when child reach 11 or 12 years old, exceptionally talented child, I believe, would like to want to practice, because talent and practice, it goes together.
The hard work before the performance. Yeah. Well, we're going to leave you, and we are going to go all the way through the end of the song. We may actually extend tonight's program just a little bit, because we have one more piece from Faina Lushtak. The name of the song is Old and New. She wrote it, and she's going to perform it for us tonight. So I thank you for being with us. I thank Faina for gracing us with her presence. It has been a wonderful evening. So great to get to know you and to hear you. So here is Faina Lushtak with Old and New. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Greater New Orleans.
Orleans on LAE is presented by the Historic New Orleans Collection, HNOC.org. The National World War II Museum, NationalWW2Museum.org. And by Fisher's Jewelry, where quality and fair prices have been a family tradition since 1962, and where parking is free. Fisher's Jewelry, downtown at the corner of Rampart and Historic Canal Street. FishersJewelryNola.com.